Support for this episode has been provided by Ratio Keto-Friendly Crunchy Bars. If counting macros makes your head spin, count instead on a snack by Ratio. They've done the math for you, so you can spend less time studying the label and more time enjoying your day. Delicious and convenient, both their toasted almond and lemon almond flavors have 2 grams of net carbs and a unique combination of sugar and protein, all in a satisfying crunch. Interested? Ratio Keto-Friendly Bars are now available in the granola bar aisle at Walmart.
The Cricket Badger Podcast IPL Daily, in association with Moonrise Cricket, Indian Premier League 2020 13th edition. Every day, every game, every spill, every thrill, every triumph, all the way to the IPL trophy.
Hello everybody, welcome along. It's another Cricket Badger podcast, IPL Daily from the 22 event in the UAE, and we've had some terrific games already in this tournament. Today, it has to be said, it was probably a little bit more one-sided. Kolkata Knight Riders bouncing back from their opening defeat with a much more solid performance today to take down the Sunrisers. David Warner's men winning the toss, opting to bat first today, which is a bit of a break in trend. We'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second, but KKR getting home by 7 wickets today. We'll have a look back at that game, and we'll also have a look ahead to Sunday's match between the Rajasthan Royals and the Kings 11 Punjab. Joining me to discuss all things IPL so far, it's Abhishek, who is our Rajasthan Royals man, and we also welcome back Naman Shah as well, who is our KKR man. Naman, you must be very, very pleased today with the way your boys have bounced back and taken their first points of the tournament.
Very much, James. Very happy with the performance, especially Pat Cummins bowling such a fierce spell. 3 overs he bowled in the power play, and the game was already they cruised over from there. They did not give the start SRH needed. Also, I expected Varun Chakravarti to play first match. He is a tremendous spinner, a mystery spinner, as I had earlier spoken in my podcast. So this bowling lineup of KKR is really dangerous, and quite a formidable win, easy win.
You look at the bowling, Pat Cummins was obviously the big money man at the auction, and he didn't have the best of first games, but we've already talked on the podcast about how Owen Morgan and Pat Cummins played the last game just after coming out of quarantine. They looked a lot better today, didn't they, after having a few days practicing, getting ready for this game?
Yes, James. So it was more of a rustiness in their mind and not in their technique or batting or bowling. It was just that they need to get adapted to the condition, and it was all about feeling good in playing in Dubai, Abu Dhabi. So they looked in their zone today. Everything was clicking for them, and everyone chipped in. Even Russell at the end bowled quite nicely. Karthik was looking very active in the captainship also. So everyone chipped in. Only Kuldeep Yadav is looking a bit cold, but he will be having his day soon.
Shubman Gill, 17 not out to steer his team home today. He hit 5 fours, 2 sixes as well, was joined by England captain Owen Morgan, 42 not out from him, 3 fours and 2 sixes for the England man. They showed a lot of match management there, Naman, didn't they, to see their team home? It wasn't an onerous run chase, really, in terms of required run rate, and I think Owen Morgan's calm head out there helped Shubman Gill through.
Absolutely, James, and with not Chrisley not in the squad anymore, also not Uthappa, who was with KKR for a long season, I guess for more than 5 to 6 years, more responsibilities on Shubman Gill, and he played more of a innings which Mayank had played few days back. He's taking the responsibility, and it's not just hitting every ball. He's playing proper cricket shots in all over the ground. So it's good to see him in good nick, and Morgan taking the responsibility of guiding the youngsters.
Abhishek Bohare, you're our Rajasthan man, but let's talk to you today about the game we've just seen as well. Sunrisers, from their point of view, David Warner winning the toss and deciding to bat first. It goes against the trend. I actually like that as a ploy, though. They just didn't execute it very well. I think out in those pitches that we're going to see in the UAE, batting first, setting a challenging target, and then squashing with the bowling, which is Sunrisers' strength, might be the ploy. What do you think?
Well, I think Warner went with the idea that most of the games that had happened in this year's IPL, they have been won by the team who has set the target. Also, I think Warner believed in the fact that his team is pretty able in defending the totals because the Sunrisers have been doing it pretty well. Again, I think the only issue that happened today is the middle order looks pretty weak without the case. And once both the Warner and the Bairstow doesn't fire on all the cylinders, it becomes a very big issue for them. one of the bigger issues that I would see today is that both Saha and to some extent the other batsmen were not able to pace their innings well. They lost just one wicket for 59 runs in 7 to 15 overs, which I think probably was the difference of 50 to 20 runs, which eventually made the difference.
Is it too early for Sunrisers to panic? Now, Abhishek, it's obviously 2 defeats from their first 2 games. It's a long IPL. There's plenty of cricket still to be played, but they need to get some points on the board. Otherwise, they're going to give themselves too much to do, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I would not say still that they are at the stage where they have to press the panic button, but yes, there are big concerns. One thing that I would like to say is that probably they have to slot in Kane Williamson somewhere in the middle order because it looks pretty brittle and fragile at the moment. And I think before the next bet, probably they have to solve it at somewhere. Probably they can put Saha or some other Indian batsman at the top with Warner. And though Bairstow is one of the best players to have played IPL in last 2 seasons, the balance of the team requires Kane Williamson to come in. Otherwise, it's like you have to expect Warner and Bairstow to fire in nearly every match, and that to both of them, which I do not expect to practically happen. So not a panic button yet.
And Naman, the KKR obviously getting their first points on the board today. They did it without really Andre Russell having to come out. We saw him last season, belting the ball around and winning matches from impossible situations. To do it without him today will be a big confidence booster. They know they can do it without the big man.
Yes, very much. Also, you saw once Sunil Narayan was out in the first over itself, you saw the approach of Nitish Rana. So that was a bit of cover-up for Sunil Narayan. And also to see whether in bowling department or batting department, they have every flavor to watch out for, whether it is to hit the ball, whether it is to just knock singles or doubles, or to bowl spin, or to bowl medium pacers, or fast bowling. They have every ammunition to fire at the right time. So they have different flavors, so which will be needed in the longer tournament, especially in such wickets. So yes, actually Nitish Rana, more than Shubman Gill, Nitish Rana took off the pressure from Shubman Gill, and it was more easier for Morgan to just knock around and take his own time and just take singles and give much strike to Shubman Gill.
And Naman, the Sunrisers, Trevor Bayliss, David Warner and co, Murali in that camp as well, they've got a little bit of thinking to do. They need to get this team back on track, don't they? Because bottom of the table at the moment, no points from 2 games. It's not looking good for them.
Yes, James, but you will observe in last 2 years, 3 years also, they were struggling to bat even when Warner and Bairstow were struggling. But during that time, they were able to defend low scores, whether it is 120, 130 or 140. The major important thing right now for them is for Bhuvi and Rashid Khan to bring their form back. They need to strike early, especially Bhuvneshwar Kumar. He seems to be very much out of form. He has not played for India also since long. So form of Rashid Khan and Bhuvneshwar is key for Sunrisers.
Want to get your game the very best it can be? The future of coaching. Talk to a pro. 30-minute video conversation. Video analysis from players at the top of their game. Video shout-outs. Get a personalised message from a pro. Great for birthdays, congratulations messages, a prank or a simple hello. Visit moonrisesports.com or go to Moonrise Sports on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Moonrise Cricket. Let's play. Right, chaps, let's have a look ahead to tomorrow's game. Rajasthan Royals against the Kings 11 Punjab. Rajasthan claimed their opening victory in the tournament, and Kings 11 got their first win under their belt as well on Thursday. Both teams going to Sunday's fixture in Sharjah with momentum on their side. Let's have a look at the Rajasthan Royals first, Abhishek. Obviously, your opponents tomorrow, they're going to be boosted by the return of James Buttler, aren't they? He obviously had to have an extended quarantine period, but he's back and available now, and he'll come in and slot in at the top of the order for Rajasthan Royals, and he's always a weapon for any team, isn't he, in white ball cricket?
Absolutely. I think he's one of the biggest names in the cricket at the moment. I think he's absolutely vital for Rajasthan Royals. Forms a part of the quartet of Smith, Archer, Ben Stokes and himself. I think it's a big boost. Even without him, the Rajasthan were pretty good. Sanju Samson played an extraordinary knock in the last game. Smith was at his usual best anchoring the innings, and then Jofra with that big blast. So yeah, absolutely. I think he'll probably come in and replace Yashasvi Jaiswal at the top. And overall, the team looks pretty good. Kings 11 also a formidable opponent. They did pretty well in the last game. Rahul was excellent. But overall, I think the Rajasthan have started off well. They are doing the same thing that I expected them. And with Buttler in, I think more good things are expected to follow.
And good news as well on the cards that Ben Stokes is going to be arriving in the UAE, I think the first week in October as well. So they're going to be boosted by his return too in the forthcoming future. But just on Steve Smith, we spoke right at the start of these daily podcasts, Abhishek, about his place in the team, the fact that T20 wasn't his strongest suit necessarily. 4 overseas players only allowed. Having Steve Smith as captain and an overseas player was potentially dangerous. So it was a big innings for him, wasn't it, to get 69 off 47 and get a good innings under his belt and start his IPL well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have also discussed in the last postcard. So it's like, I would say Smith is more vital to Rajasthan with his cricketing mind. Absolutely, it's not like when you have an overseas slot pendant for you. So you obviously have to perform with a bat or ball also. That's absolutely a no-brainer. But still, he's bringing to the table the same thing that probably Vaughan got. Even if in some particular games, Vaughan would have not got 2 wickets or 3 wickets, probably bowled with an economy of more than 9. He more than compensated with his brains. Because if you see this, even Smith's record has probably gone better than MS Dhoni, who has been the most successful IPL captain. So his RPSG record and the Rajasthan Royals record as a captain speaks volume. Yes, runs and test belt are very good. But I still believe even if he does not perform at the same level in every day, which I also do not personally expect him to do, I believe he more or less makes up to for his on-field decisions and the amount of coordination and the pumping that he brings into his tool. So I still believe, yes, the runs and the numbers are good for him, but still I think I would rate him a bit more for his cricketing brain.
Jofra Archer, I thought, was really fantastic in the last game, both with the ball, more important with the ball, really, isn't he? Opening the bowling there, bowling tight and bowling pretty quick as well, but with the bat as well towards the end of it. He's a genuine all-rounder in this Rajasthan side.
Yeah, absolutely. Those 27, 30 runs in the last over probably made a lot of difference. Also, his bowling was spot on, and if you see the Rajasthan Royals team dynamics, without Ben Stokes, he's probably the biggest leader in the dressing room for the bowling department. They have exciting talent like Riyan Parag and Shreyas Gopal, but still I would believe that he's the one who is that tall standing figure for the bowling department. He's doing that all extremely well, and if he can just keep on that, getting those extra 15-20 runs in the back, and it's, I think, absolutely great because it probably stretches their batting to number 7 or 8, and that too without Ben Stokes. Like you said, once Ben Stokes is expected to join in the first week of October, probably the batting has trended down to probably 9. So especially Rajasthan has sometimes faltered in chasing their total. So probably having a batting like number 9 will probably resemble someone like the Super Kings of the previous years, where they batted till number 8 and number 9 and were one of the best chasers of the IPL history.
Now, man, you're our Kings 11 person tonight by substitution because Claire's out gallivanting, so she's not available to record this evening. But if I can put you in the Kings 11 camp, they obviously had that frustration in the first game when there was one short. They should have probably won that game. They lost it on the super over, but they bounced back really nicely. KL Rahul doing a good job as captain to obviously get his team up for the next challenge. But 132 he scored, the high score by an Indian in the IPL, a high score by a captain in the IPL, and he was absolutely majestic at the top of the order. He really led his team from the top, didn't he?
Absolutely, James. It was one of the top-class innings you will ever get to see in IPL, especially out of India. It's not easy just to get used to such wickets and play according to the situations. You need to target few bowlers and just knock off singles when the good bowlers are bowling. But the important thing to see over here is the temperament of both Rahul and Mayank. It's not just that they know what to do when the situation is tough. They handle the situation, especially Rahul. And seeing this performance, as I mentioned in the last podcast also, without Gale, without Mujim still to pitch in, it's very good to see. And this, to be honest, these are the two teams who are nobody was giving them any chance before IPL, to be honest. Not even Punjab and not Rajasthan. But these are the two dangerous side with star-studded lineup with Butlers and Stokes and Gales and Maxwells. So these are the two teams which everyone needs to look up to. I think at least one of them are truly going to top 4.
And it was a good performance with the ball as well. Obviously, Rahul's runs had put scoreboard pressure on their opposition, the RCB. But Ashwin, Bishnoi and the rest really turned up with the ball as well and really stopped any chance. RCB have got some firepower in their order, but they never really looked likely, did they? So good performance in the field by Kings 11 too.
Yes, pretty much. To see the first 6 overs are pretty critical for Punjab, but the new ball has been taken care of nicely by Mohammad Shami and Cottrell. They have not gone for plenty and they are swinging the ball. They are troubling the opening batsmen. But tomorrow, to be honest, bowlers are going to be tested thoroughly from both the teams because it is Sharjah and it will be a truly belt of a wicket where loads and loads of runs are going to be scored, especially if Gale plays. It will be a tough ask for Smith to play both Tewatia and Shreyas Gopal. If he sticks over there for first 6 overs, then it will be a carnage for these bowlers. And being a small ground and Archer hitting 4 sixes to Ngidi, and just imagine what if Gale stays for first 6 overs, what he will do to these bowlers.
Abhishek, is the likely inclusion of Chris Gale for this one at Sharjah, the small boundaries we've seen already, some big hits at that ground. Does that worry you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would think that's a concern, especially considering the short boundaries at Sharjah. But I still believe that I think either one, if Gale plays, I think probably the Smith will start either one of Jofra Archer or I think Shreyas Gopal, which I think both are more than capable of containing the big man. Obviously, if it's Gale's on song, then anything can happen. But I still believe that if the duo of Archer and Shreyas Gopal starts against Gale, probably they will get him to make one of those mistakes in the first 2 overs. Yeah, obviously a concern, but I still believe that we have 2 aces up our sleeve, Archer or Shreyas Gopal, and I think Smith will probably start with the same in case Gale starts.
James Buttler's going to come back in, isn't he? That's a pretty obvious selection. Does that mean that David Miller just drops to the bench? David Miller was unlucky to be run out in the first game, but that would seem the likely replacement.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely looks like that it will be the Buttler for Miller replacement. Obviously, Miller was a bit unfortunate. He got run out. But in one-on-one comparison, I would still believe that 100% James Buttler deserves his spot and brings in that capability, that firepower up the order where he can probably accelerate at 9 or 11 RPO in the power plays and also helps Steve Smith and the other Indian batsmen to anchor along the innings.
Right, guys, before we finish tonight, I want you to use the experience you've had over the first week and a bit of the IPL. 8 days we've seen teams in action. Has it changed your opinion on who's going to make the final 4 of this competition? Who's going to make the playoffs that maybe you didn't think might do at the start of it? Start with you, Naman. Tell me who you think your final 4 will be. Who's going to make the playoffs of IPL 2020?
I feel it will be KKR, CSK, and Delhi and Punjab for sure. These are the 4 teams I'm backing, especially Punjab and KKR. These are the 2 teams where you are seeing loads of young guns and experience like Morgan. Maxwell still has not fired, but his presence will be important for Punjab too later in the tournament. Also the bowling for both the teams, Sunil Narayan over there, Mujib. So these 2 teams I'm really looking forward to. But one dark horse where I feel is Rajasthan itself. Still Ben Stokes has not arrived, so the team is really will be different in next few weeks to come. But these are the 4 teams which I feel are going to make it through.
That's really strange, because I've jotted mine down here. And we differ massively on who we think our final 4 is going to be. And before I tell you who mine is, I think that just tells you about this IPL. From what we've seen so far, there's nothing in it, is there? Anybody could win this trophy this time. And that's what makes it such an exciting competition for me. I jotted down my 4 teams. I actually don't think CSK make the playoffs this time. I think they break their 100% record this time around. Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals, Rajasthan Royals, and RCB for me. So did we get any that were the same? I don't think we did. What about you? You're the deciding vote then, Abhishek. Who are your 4?
Yeah, so I think, James, 3 of the teams that you took the name, I think I agree with the same. Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals and Rajasthan Royals. I think these are the 3 teams that I agree with you will make the playoffs. I believe KKR will be the 4th team to do it. I believe they have got a better balance, and I think RCB, until and unless Chris Morris comes in and takes that pace of a premier 4th pacer, which I do not believe is going to happen. I still believe it's a very, very unbalanced team. Delhi Capitals, just for one thing, Kagiso Rabada. Rajasthan Royals, I think we have discussed, they have that over 4 teams. Mumbai Indians, they have that balance. And I think the 4th team will be KKR because I think they bat long. And also like today we saw they have 6 or 7 genuine bowlers to make the decision for the captain.
I think it's really interesting. The only team that we left out there was Sunrisers, who obviously lost 2 in the first 2 games. But you can't even discount them, can you? Because with the firepower they've got at the top of the order and the bowling attack they've got, Rashid Khan and co, as the pitches were, you can't count Sunrisers out either. I think it's going to be a terrific IPL 2020. Everything points towards it being a really close finish as well. I think the end of the group stages is going to be fascinating because I don't think this time around we're going to get a side that just gets to the top of the table and stays there and goes away from anybody, because I think everybody's going to beat everybody as we go through IPL 2020. Naman and Abhishek, it's been a pleasure to have you on tonight. Enjoy the game tomorrow, Abhishek. Good luck to your side. And I'll talk to you both very soon indeed.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And thank you, everybody out there, for listening in your increasing numbers. Enjoy the IPL. Get behind your side and make sure you tune in every single day. The Cricket Badger Daily IPL Podcast. We record them straight away after the games have finished, and we'll get them out to you and publish it very, very soon indeed after that as well. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening. Join us every day throughout IPL 2020. Follow us on Twitter at cricket_badger. Join in the fun. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Advancements in the medical field are giving nurses faster, more effective results than ever before. They should expect the same from their education, too. Capella University's game-changing FlexPath format allows you to set your own deadlines and leverage your experience to move faster through your program. So the faster you move, the more money you save. When you're ready, we'll be here. Visit capella.edu for a trial course at no cost to you. Capella University. Don't just learn, learn smarter.